Hey guys, what's up? Happy long weekend to you. I had a couple requests on how to make a lava lamp. So since we have some time off this weekend, I'm going to make a lava lamp for you guys. Alright? So, in case you don't know, a lava lamp looks a little bit like this or like this. Okay? This is just the top part, the glass part, that would sit in a bottom that is very much like that. Okay? So in this glass container, you've got a liquid, which is water, right? And in it, you've got this kind of clumpy thing that you can actually see will move around. It's kind of like a gel, okay? I don't actually know the chemical makeup of it, but it is something that once you put a light under and it heats it up, it's going to start bubbling up to the top and then falling down and bubbling up to the top and falling down, so you get that goopy lava lampy effect, okay? So this one, which is a smaller one and doesn't actually heat up, but it has a few little lights in there. Okay, you set this on top and it has the glitter that's just suspended in it, and it will eventually sink to the bottom until we kind of shake it up and it gives that pretty glittery effect. Okay, so we are going to make our own lava lamp, okay, in this container right here using some homemade materials. We've got our food coloring so that we can make it pretty. We've got the water, okay, that we're going to suspend our oil mixture in, okay, and we're going to create the bubble effect using the Alka-Seltzer tablets, okay, or antacids, something that you might see grandma, grandpa, mom, dad, brother, sister, somebody to take if they have some indigestion. They would break up these tablets and put it in some water, and you see those little bubbles in the water. Okay, so we're going to see that here in just a minute. So the first thing we're going to do is take our oil, okay, just regular plain old vegetable oil that you might make fries in or bacon in or saute some vegetables in. We're going to pour that in. I'm going to use this one up first. I'm going to ask my cameraman Colin, who's also my son, if he can actually see what it is that I am making, because I'm not sure you can. You don't want to see me, you want to see what I'm making, right? So the goal is to fill it up about 3/4 of the way. So that's about, we'll just say that's about 3/4 of the way. We're going to take our water and fill that up the rest of the way, and you're going to notice something happen. We see a whole lot of bubbles happening, and what did you notice? Even though the oil went in first, where's the water? It goes right to the bottom. Weird, right? Since I poured the water in second. Well, that's because water happens to be more dense than the oil, meaning it's heavier than the oil. Think about when you jump in a pool. Where do you go? You go to the bottom? No, you go to the top. You float to the top. So the water is actually more dense than we are, okay? It's heavier than we are. So the water is more dense or heavier than the oil, which is going to sit on top. So we're going to see, I'm going to probably try to put in just a touch more here. It's going to be real tight on the top. Yeah. It's kind of a cone shape, so we're going to see if this is going to work out. But the next thing I'm going to do is take some of my food coloring, and since blue is my favorite color, I'm going to use some blue. Alright, so I'm going to drop that color in, and you're going to watch what happens as it goes right to the bottom. It sinks through that bottom layer of bubbles of oil, and if you get a close-up on this water, actually, Colin, you're going to be able to see it actually go through that layer of oil and sink into the water. It's very cool the way it kind of breaks through there. Okay? Pretty spiffy, right? And as it spreads out in that water, I'm going to even give it just a little bit of a shake. Okay? It's going to start to color the water that's down there below the oil. Okay? All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is take my Alka-Seltzer or antacid tablets. Okay? They just look like little wafers. And I'm actually going to break them up. Okay? Break them up into quarters. Meaning I'm going to take one and break it into 4 pieces. Okay? So we're going to start out with one and we're going to see what happens. Alright? I'm going to just drop it right down the center. As soon as it hits that water, what do you notice? Ooh, it's starting to effervesce, or it's starting to bubble. Okay? It's a funny word, effervesce, but it means to bubble. So what's happening is that antacid is reacting with the water. Okay? So a chemical reaction is happening. It is releasing CO2. CO2 is the same thing that we breathe out every day. We breathe in oxygen, we breathe out CO2, okay? And so that is what this crazy bubble sensation is. Now, as that CO2 is being released, okay, as it reacts with the water and that CO2 is actually shooting up to the top as a bubble, it's taking that color with it. So that's why we're getting that super pretty color bubble that's coming up to the top. And I don't know if you can hear it because I was probably talking over it, but you can actually hear the bubbles fizzing here at the top.
There's one right there.
Okay. So we're going to do that again. And I'm actually going to drop 2 in. I'm going to get crazy.
Oh!
Focus on this. Thank you. Okay.
I was pushing her.
So we're going to put 2 in. We're going to see what happens. It might get a little nutty, but we're going to check it out. So we're going to get a whole lot of bubbles, and you can actually see it push right up through that oil. And you can see how those bubbles are taking that color right to the top. Pretty fun.
Whoa.
So the CO2 actually takes those bubbles, it makes them lighter than the oil, right? Takes it right to the top. Thank you so kindly. So we see that the more antacids that we put in there, the more the bubbles. Very cool, right?
Yes.
Alright, so that is how we make, you know, if you actually wanted to, if mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, brother, sister, somebody, as Colin puts that last one in there, wanted to help you out, and you had a way to put a light underneath it, even if you wanted to use like a flashlight, and you were able to build a stand that we could set that on, it would be pretty cool, I think, to have. I just wanted to see if this would actually light up. Yeah, I wonder if it. Oh, it will. Okay. So, if mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle were able to give you some kind of light source underneath it, like even like a flashlight, it would be a really neat way to enhance that color. And my son, older son, actually just brought out the bottom to this lava lamp he found, okay, and it lights up. So, let me see if there's a way we can actually set this right on top.
It might be too
You're gonna
heavy.
see my crazy chip basket, but that's okay.
Yeah.
So, look how gorgeous that is.
Awesome.
Now, I'm going to be real dangerous and I'm going to leave it sit there for just a second while I get another tablet. It's okay. And let's see what happens if we actually have it effervesce over top of that light. And that is pretty stinking cool, huh? Can you get a close-up of those tablets in there? Because the way they effervesce and release those bubbles is very cool. And it actually, I think, took it right to the top.
It moves too. It goes from here into here and then moves across to here. And
Those bubbles actually make it so buoyant. Almost like a life jacket. So like when a kid is in the water and you have a life jacket, it kind of pulls them back up. It's almost like that.
The bubbles settle at the top and then like disintegrate into there.
Yep.
Come back up.
So when that CO2 brings them right to the top, it rockets them to the top, and then once that pops at the top, then it just kind of sinks back down. Right?
Yeah.
Very cool. Alright. So, I hope you like that. If you have any interest in making one at home and you want to stop by the library and get a how-to, I have the steps written out. So if you have an interest in that, you can come see me. Otherwise, it's Miss W out. I hope you have a good President's Day. See you guys.